Hi, this is Edda, and I help ordinary people figure out what's just so extraordinary about them. Today we're into puzzles. I hope you're ready. We're going to look at all the different parts of you and why every single aspect of you makes you so beautiful. Hi, all you fabulous humans. Welcome back. This is so cool. We are in my salon today. So my lovely little human beings, what I wanted to start off with the top of our show is do we remember last week when I was talking about that you're just some sort of really cool puzzle? Let's go there, shall we? My lovely little puzzle piece. Let's figure out just what the heck am I talking about. So I'm gonna take this idea of puzzle a little bit farther. Who is ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do it. Okay, here is the coolio thing. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of some background of how I have sort of discovered this idea of that we are a puzzle and that we're sort of collecting things back and putting it into ourselves. So at one level, you're this human who's living a life and things happen to you. Depending on what those things are, they are a great opportunity to envelop. We all know that, maybe you will remember it was yesterday, the day that you had your first kiss, or the day that you graduated from high school or college, or the day that you got married. It is emblazoned in you. So sometimes when I'm working with people on this energetic level, I will see their energy and I'll see full parts and pieces of them just sort of floating all together like this beautiful, if you will, energy puzzle, just woo, connecting. And then sometimes you see a boop, little hole, boop, can almost put your hand through that little hole. And what the heck is that? Well, I often find these are the parts and pieces of us where things were maybe painful. And we did not do one of two things. Find a way to sort of embrace that, bring that into us, fully feel it, and connect it into our energetic and physical self. Or maybe it's a hole because we aren't able to let go of it. And so there's something about this energy that is pulling at us, pulling us apart, pulling us separate. And so often when I'm working with people, what we need to do is we find that moment, that place, and we bring it to, if you will, completion. And when we do that, something happens. Another part of you kind of comes back online. That part of you, let's just take the painful part of you that you've just not been willing to fully release and let go. There's often a mistaken belief that goes with the pain. There is often a place where we make a decision. I had a painful moment. That was so painful. I never want to go through that again. I know, mistaken belief, I will never be this person again. So let's give an example. I had a painful moment. My brother died 10 days before my 18th birthday, and that was so painful. And maybe when I was 17, I didn't take life too seriously. Ooh, maybe I need to take life more seriously. And then I put that little mistaken belief in my head. Maybe it's not all mistaken, but basically it was a way that I lived for decades. Everything is so serious. Brr. So in my lovely little world, I had cut off, snip, a part of me that was full of joy and pleasure and adventure and exploration and play because my brother died and I was hurting so bad. And this is all of us. Now, your mistaken belief might not be my mistaken belief, but it's there. You have a mistaken belief. It could also be that sometimes maybe people treated you a certain way, so you're like, ooh, I don't ever want to be treated that way again. So you're like, how the heck do I make sure that I show up in a world where people would never treat me that way again, right? So let's see if we can give an example of this. Let's say you're somebody who is like really sort of silly and kind of like very big picture thinker, and you go into like an environment where people might like make fun of that. You start to think, ooh, well, I can't be that person because I don't want to be made fun of, which is fair and valid. But it is also fair and valid that maybe your beauty does lie in your silliness and your playfulness and your little goofiness. So there's this thing that we do where we sort of take a part of ourselves, like I was saying last week. Ooh, that was painful. I'm gonna take that, like if you can imagine, like a puzzle piece, and just take it off the table. I no longer wanna be that, because that led to a whole world of upset crap and confusion and some amount of pain. Ooh, stop it. I don't want to have pain, right? Makes sense. Well, my lovely little human beings, I hate to say it. You gotta get that puzzle piece back. You gotta get it back. You gotta get it back. That puzzle piece is so important. Now, you don't need to get the ugly pain back. You don't need people to treat you a certain way. No. That's not it. No, that's not it. But what you do need is to embrace all of you. All of you. Oh, can you say that with me? I want to embrace all of me. And let's just do like the math on that one. Have you ever, I'm gonna give you an example on the math on that. And this isn't the mindfuck math. This is just like the math on why we need all of us. Let's take this example. Have you ever gone on a date, first date? You really want to make a good impression. So you kind of act different than who you are, right? You kind of like try to button it up a little bit and try to like, I don't know, maybe act a little smarter or a little bit more willing to like be something that you're not, more patient, more kind, more this, more that, blah, blah. And you know, at one level, it's you. A smaller version of you. But it's not you. What I'm talking about is that normal place where we feel vulnerable for who we are. And so when we're in kind of a new situation, like a date or like a job interview or like meeting new people, we have to make these choices. How much of me is going to walk into that room and show up, right? And so we kind of like dampen it down. We've all heard of the crazy stories of people like, oh my gosh. Let me give you just a really kind of crazy example. So this woman who like doesn't like the taste of seafood, basically on her first date told her date that she's allergic to seafood. Yet now they're in a very deeply serious relationship, and she's sitting with the fact that she has lied to this guy for years. And she's even gotten her family to lie for her for years. And there's this lie. And part of that lie is this lie to him. And this other part of the lie is this lie for her pretending to be someone who she's not. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the puzzle. That's the puzzle piece right there. Far more vulnerable. Let's take our lovely little fish lady here. For her on that first date to say, oh my gosh, I really don't like the taste of fish. And maybe this guy would have been like, no, try it. And maybe they would have had to like work through some stuff there. But in that working through some stuff there, if you will, the spin cycle of a relationship is where sometimes the good stuff really happens. Because as I mentioned last time, we are like little molecules. Hello, little human molecules. And sometimes we gotta bop into each other. And that bopping, maybe it's a bounce. Hey, good to see you. Hey, good to see you. Have a good day. Maybe it's a energy transfer where it's like, hey, thanks, I needed that, or ooh, wow, I don't know if I wanted that, whatever. Or maybe it's a transformation. In relationships, it's often the invitation for transformation. It's often the invitation to like go beyond who you think you are. And this, my lovely little baby human beings, is what I'm kind of like driving at about these puzzle pieces. So let's go back to where I was when I was talking about energy healing. When I am working with my fabulous clients, and they are just like, we start off with some sort of like potential intention or issue or concern, and then we open up the energy. And often when we open that up, we go on a journey. Spirit takes us on a journey. Hi, did you bring your bags? Yes, Spirit, we did. Let's go on a journey. And Spirit takes us on this journey, and we go all over into myriad places that show you why this situation is showing up in your life, or how it is that your intention is inviting you to change. Makes sense, doesn't it? In these invitations by Spirit, and in these awesome opportunities to heal, it is an invitation to bring back things about yourself that were tossed aside because you thought that part of yourself was not good enough to be the real part of what you need to be in order for humans to like you. Let's say this in a short little fashion, regardless of spirit or no. Whenever you want something new in your life, or whenever you are growing towards an outcome or trying to resolve something in your life, there is a part of that journey that is going to invite you to go back and look at where was the origin of the pain? Where was the origin of the mistaken belief? Where was the origin of something that has been holding you back? Here's the crazy cool thing about life. If you remember what I said last week, is that every single thing that happens in your life is the possibility to discover more and more about what you are here to do, what is your purpose, what is your fantastic journey. All the time, we are here to go on the most amazing adventure. We are the heroes of our own stories. We are. It's why we like to go to a movie and see some hero or heroine do all those amazing things. It's a little harder when it's our life because it feels kind of uncomfortable, and we kind of forgot that we're the heroines, right? So we're gonna go into this like dynamic of you needing to get all your little puzzle pieces back, because it is a big part of what makes you that hero or heroine. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, it is. So let's just start off with a fabulous little quote from Lewis Carroll, shall we? I'm gonna read this little thing. Lewis Carroll says, "Who in the world am I?" We've all said that, right? And then he says, that is the great puzzle. So in honor of Lewis Carroll, who takes us on such great, crazy adventures, I say, let's go and discover how to build our little great puzzle. In this episode, what I want to start off with is like, let's just look at how in any one moment, when you want a thing, whether it's like a promotion at your job, you want to start dating some person, guy or gal, whether it's looking at how to move forward in education or how to maybe make more money, all of those are these big invitations for you to become something bigger, something new, something bolder. Yeah, so ultimately what we're looking at here is that there's always an opportunity for you to become something that you haven't become yet. Sort of, if you will, like a caterpillar to a butterfly. That you all the time are invited to go into these like sort of chrysalis moments and find out what else is inside of you, or what else can you grow inside of you to become the thing, to get the thing, to have the thing, whether it's a boyfriend, a job, a career, a degree, and etc., right? So here is the lovely thing, my lovely lovelies. This is, if you will, part of the puzzles, right? This one we know. Oh, okay, so one point, I just had, a high school degree, and then I went for 4 years to college, and I studied, and I took the test, and I did all the things that were required of me. And then I got a degree, and suddenly, boop, now I have this little puzzle piece, boop, bachelor's degree, yay. And there's like a thing that happens when you achieve it, something like a bachelor's degree, and you achieve that, and suddenly, there's a new way that you see the world. You see it differently. Here is the really cool thing. At any time, you have the ability to do what we just did. You have the ability at any time to regain or gain parts and pieces of yourself, to become something that is so deeply maybe known to you, or maybe is only a twinkle in your eye, or maybe your conscious mind can't fathom it. But when we push into new territory, we discover things about ourselves. And when we push into old territory, we discover things about ourselves. And when we push into anything, when we discover things about the world, when we discover things about the ways of being, we literally find new ways to be, grow, and have. So there's other ways other than just going out and achieving things, that we find these things that light up who we are. And this one might be a little bit of a tougher sell, but I'm gonna actually invite you to try it. This is the place where sometimes when things are hard and tough and painful, there is also an invitation to discover so much of who you are. And in that discovery, there might be really kind of interesting things. As I said, I think it was 2 times ago, about that our wounds are actually where our light shines through. So sometimes our wounds become a guiding light for how we want to make a difference in this world. That is so profound and so powerful. When we light up and we ultimately start seeing how important it is to make a change in our maybe community, or in our family, or maybe even bigger, to be a part of a movement or something that is making that same change. That is so cool. And this, again, just like getting that college degree or any other kind of degree, when you step into that, being led by the importance of the wound, you begin to discover greater aspects of your humanity. And again, if we're going to use this idea of a puzzle, that's where you get to bring another puzzle piece back to you. Whew. Love that. The next aspect of what I would say, this one is probably a little bit more tough, but also deals with wounds, is that sometimes in our wounds, there was mistaken beliefs that were made. So sometimes something happens in our day-to-day life where something gets reactivated, a wound from perhaps like when we were younger, our childhood, something like that. And when that happens, ultimately it can feel sort of like you're going back to a hellish place, like, oh my God, I promised myself I would never be back here again. And so then it sort of feels actually like hell. But there is an invitation, I promise you, there is an invitation in that moment too. because sometimes we have not fully realized the beauty of what needs to happen and to heal from that wound. And healing, don't think of it like a band-aid and skin kind of growing back over it, and it's like, think of it as turning into something far more profound and beautiful, and even, if you will, inspiring. When I do my healing energy with clients, I'm just going to share this example, what we're going through. Sometimes we'll discover, if you will, like a hole in their energy. And this is because something happened from a past point in their life that is draining off energy from them, or is not allowed to fully encompass and be itself because it's missing a part of who you are. So let's talk about this for a moment. I was saying how healing is more than just like the act of like us getting over something or skin regrowing, etc. This is what I'm talking about. When we heal, there's a hole, if you will, in our energy, and it is draining us off. And there are many ways that we actively are protecting ourselves, almost like a wall around that pain point that we keep locked behind a barrier. And all of that energy is there, very much kind of keeping us locked. Now, this is where the good stuff happens. When we can, whether you're working with an energy healer or working with a therapist or working with a coach or just working with yourself or working with meditation and prayer, whatever it may be, when you come to that moment of pain, when we are able to come to it and see it from a different perspective, we are able to fully comprehend what it is that is there. And in that comprehension, maybe we see mistaken beliefs, things that we did that were actually far too heavy-handed and maybe closed down our energy. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is that we actually get to invite that little boo-boo part of yourself back into you. That boo-boo self, your little boo-boo self, is part of who you are, is such a part of who you are. Often we're in these places where we think we just need to be more adult and more grown up and more serious and more handling all the things and being more the type of person people can count on. That's all great, that's all wonderful. But I just want to remind you, you are beautiful through and throughout, and your childhood is a great part of who you are. It lives within you, and your pain is not something to run away from or hide from. It is truly a place, an invitation to see what really deeply matters to you. And when you re-invoke that lovely little beautiful part of yourself that was hurt, perhaps maybe injured by others, and you bring that back into you, and you find a way to bring that back as an adult, magic happens. It's such an amazing thing. Suddenly you just actually might even feel like you just have more energy in the day, because remember how I said energetically you're like walling it off, like Rrr. So there's all this energy that you're holding back. Stay back, pain point, don't want to deal with you. So there's that. Oh, I feel more energetic. But then there's this other thing where suddenly you are giving invitation to this beautiful pure part of yourself that maybe was pushed aside just because you were embarrassed or hurt or upset with the way people treated you. And now that you're an adult, you can find a way to tend to yourself and maybe tend to, if somebody does that to you, more responsibly that you didn't have when you were a child. So I invite you to actually go and discover everything about you, the good and the bad and the ugly. Because here, my lovely little babies, my lovely little humans, is where we ultimately unleash ourselves, where we begin to see that we are those unique snowflakes of a human that was brought here, each and every one of us, with our own perspective, so that we could actually, as humans, be this amazing harmony of perspectives, of ideas, of ways that we can come together. And it is in the scooping of our pain that harmony is mostly actually embodied. So, I hope you liked putting together your little puzzle, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm looking forward to discovering just how beautiful your puzzle is. Can't wait to meet all of you. I'll see you next week when we discover another really cool aspect of just what makes you beautiful.